Ever wanted to build a stunning, responsive navbar that just works beautifully across every screen size? A navbar that has smooth hover effects, a stylish drop-down menu, and a buttery smooth mobile experience? Well, in today's video, we're building this exact navbar step by step using Bootstrap 5. Welcome to Potential Web Code, the channel where we turn simple code into beautiful, real-world websites. Before we start coding, let's take a quick look at what we're going to build. At the top, we've got a sticky navbar that stays visible as you scroll. Then we have a logo on the left. When we hover over it, it slightly darkens. In the middle, we have for menu items. When we hover, the font color changes and a slight shadow appears. One of the menu items, Service, has a drop-down menu. When we click it, a beautiful drop-down appears with icons. On the right, we have a Sign Up button that changes color when we hover over it. Below the navbar, we have a content section just to make the website more realistic. And yes, our navbar is fully responsive. On small screens, the menu collapses into a hamburger icon. When we click the icon, the menu smoothly slides in from the right, with all functionality intact. Alright, excited to build this. Let's start coding. Let's open the code editor. I'll be using Visual Studio Code as my code editor, but you can use any editor of your choice. We need two files for this project, index.html file for the structure, and style.css file for styling. Alright, let's start with the HTML file. Let's begin by adding the basic HTML structure. Then update the page title to Responsive Navbar Bootstrap with Dropdown. Next, let's add Bootstrap 5 to our project. Open the Bootstrap 5.3 documentation. Copy the CSS CDN and paste it inside the head tag. Then grab the JavaScript bundle CDN and paste it just before the closing body tag. We are done adding Bootstrap to our configuration. Next, let's add Font Awesome so we can use icons on our project. Let's find the CDN Font Awesome on the browser. Copy it and paste its CDN right below the Bootstrap CSS link. We are done adding Font Awesome. Finally, let's link our external CSS file at the bottom of the head. Now, we're ready to start building the navbar dropdown with Bootstrap. I open Live Preview screen so we can see the live update of our code. Inside our body tag, we will have two sections, Navbar and Content. Let's start the Bootstrap navbar. We start by creating a nav element and give it to Bootstrap classes. The first, Navbar, it activates Bootstrap's navbar styling. The second is Navbar Expand SM, means the navbar will expand on small screens and above and collapse into a hamburger on mobile. Next, we wrap the navbar content inside a Bootstrap container to center everything and give it nice padding on both sides. Then we add brand logo or text that appears on the left side of the navbar. Usually, it links back to the homepage. Now we add the toggler button. This is the burger menu icon that appears on smaller screens. We use Bootstrap's built-in data attributes to handle the toggling without JavaScript. Inside the button, we use a Font Awesome bars icon. On preview, we can see the burger button will show when the screen getting smaller. Next, let's add navbar menus. We add the main container for our menu links. This section will collapse on smaller screens and expand when we click the burger icon. We'll call it Navbar menu and connect it to the button above. Now, we add an unordered list with Navbar nav. MX auto centers the items horizontally. Each menu item is wrapped in a nav item and nav link. We have for menus, they are home, about, service, and blog. We start by add home menu first. We can see on the preview, the home already appeared next to the logo. Next, we will add about menu. We just copy the home menu structure and change to about. Next, let's add service menu. Service menu has submenu, so we will use Dropdown. To create the dropdown, we use the nav item dropdown class. Then add a link with nav link dropdown toggle. This will show the dropdown on click, thanks to Bootstrap's database toggle. We can see on the preview, the service menu has drop-down icon. Now let's create the drop-down items that will appear when this link is clicked. We use an unordered list with the class drop-down menu. Bootstrap automatically hides this list until the user clicks on the service link. We will add 3 menus on it. We start with Web Design menu. We add a link with the class drop-down item. This gives it Bootstrap's default drop-down styling. Then we use a font awesome icon before the text for a professional touch. Now, we can see on the preview, the web design menu appear when we clicked on the drop-down of the service menu. Next, let's add to more drop-downs menus. Let's just copy the UWeb design drop-down, then paste and change the name to SEO and Consulting, following with the represent icons. Before we add the last menu Consulting, let's add some divider between the SEO menu and the Consulting menu. We set the class name to drop-down divider. We can see it has lines showing below the second drop-down menu. Then let's add the Consulting menu like previous way. Now, we are done adding drop-down menu on the service. Next, let's add one more menu, blog. We're using the same structure as before, a list item with the class nav item. We can see blog menu already appeared next to service. Now, we are done adding for menus of our navbar. Next, we add a sign up button on the right. This is a little different. Instead of being in the list of nav items, this button will be outside the UL, but still inside the navbar content area. That way, it stays aligned to the right, clean and modern. Now, we completed the navbar section. On the left, we've got logo. On the center, we've home, about, service drop-down, and blog. Then, on the right, our sign up Budo. All of the menus also responsive. Awesome job on the navbar. Now that the top of our site is done, let's create a simple content section below it. This will help us test the layout spacing and make sure everything flows nicely after the navbar. We give it a class name called main content. That's so we can style it later in our CSS file. Then we add heading to for title of the content. We're using a paragraph tag P with some placeholder text. This just fills out the section visually for now. We'll replace it with real text later. We're building a real project. Nice, the content appears neatly below the navbar. The heading stands out and the paragraph is readable. Now that we have the structure of our navbar and content in place, it's time to make it look awesome using CSS. Let's open our style.css file and begin styling step by step. We'll start by styling the navbar itself. First, we're selecting the navbar class. This targets the entire navbar container from our HTML. We set the background to a vibrant indigo blue. It gives our navbar a strong, modern feel. Then, we add a subtle shadow below the navbar. It creates depth, like the navbar is floating slightly above the content. Now, let's style the navbar logo. We want the logo to be bold and white to stand out on the navbar background. We target the logo inside the navbar brand class. We make the logo text bold for better visibility and style. Then set the color of the logo to white, so it pops against the background color. And we make sure that the logo stays on top of other elements using z-index. Next, let's style the navbar toggler. This is the little hamburger icon on mobile devices. We want it to be white and stand out against the background. We remove the default border that comes with the button. Then sets the color of the icon to white so it's visible against the blue background. We also set the z-index to ensure the toggler icon stays on top of other elements. Now let's style the individual navigation links. We want these to look clean and modern, and we want to change the color when users hover over them. First, we set the nav link. We set the default color of the links to white to match the logo color. The important ensures that this color takes precedence over any other styles. Then we add some padding to the left and right of each link, making them easier to click and visually balanced. Then, to make it more engaging, we add hover effect. We change the text color to a bright yellow when hovered, making it visually appealing. And we add soft purple-blue background color on hover, creating a highlight effect. We can see on the preview side, when we hover on the navbar link, the effect will show perfectly. Next, let's style the drop-down menu to make it look sharp and clean. We want to give it a slightly different background color and some shadow for depth. We start by set a deep purple color for the drop-down to match the hover color we used for the navbar links. We ensure the drop-down is wide enough to hold the content without being too narrow. Next, remove the border around the drop-down to make it look clean and seamless. Then we add a soft shadow beneath the drop-down, giving it a floating effect. Also, when add small margin around the drop-down, giving it some space from other elements. The drop-down will show when we click on the service menu. Next, let's style the drop-down items to make them look polished and interactive. We add some padding inside each item to make it easy to click. Then give the items a medium weight font for legibility. We ensure the text color is white, so it's visible on the purple background. Let's take a look at the styling result on the drop-down item. Then, let's add an interactive effect for the drop-down items when they're hovered over. We set subtle background color when the item is hovered, creating a clean, interactive effect. Then, we keep the text color white when hovered. Look at preview, there are some effects when we hover on our drop-down item. Then, to make our drop-down item more engaged look, let's style the icons inside each drop-down item. We add spacing to the right of the icon, creating a small gap between the icon and the text. And we change the icon color to make it more stunning and engaging. Look, our drop-down menus are wonderful now. Now, let's move on to styling the sign up button. We want this button to have rounded edges and a bright yellow background with a nice hover effect. We target the BT and Navbar class. We round the edges of the button using border radius, giving it a smooth, modern look. Next, ensure the button is wide enough to fit the text inside and looks balanced. Then we set the background color to bright yellow, which stands out nicely against the navbar. Next, let's add hover effect for the button to make it more wonderful. We change the background color to a soft purple when hovered. Then we add border around the button with the same yellow color, creating a sharp contrast. Next, we ensure the text color stays white on hover, so it's easy to read. Look at the preview side. When we hover on the sign up button, it shows interactive effect. Alright, now let's style the section right below our navbar, the main content. We set the height to ensure the section takes up full height relative to its parent. Then, padding adds space inside the section, so the text doesn't stick directly to the edge of the browser. Now, we are done styling our navbar. To make it more wonderful, let's make our navbar fully responsive. We're starting with a media query.